and rivers in the desert. That's a promise, and I take him at his word. I ask him to make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert with specific issues. God reminds me that he is in control and that he will make a way for me. And this comforts me. And I keep moving forward in faith. So what are my latest symptoms? In stressful situations, I get what's called an MS heart hug. I've never had a heart attack, but I'm told it feels like you're having a heart attack. It's where my heart has an intense tightening. It's scary. Or in stressful situations, I get an MS neck hug. It's where it feels like I'm only getting about 50 to 70% of the oxygen that I need. It's hard not to panic. Fears and doubts come and go. Some MS trials are so difficult that even though he keeps building my faith stronger with each trial, once in a while I have fears and doubts. I struggle with believing that God will get me through the new trial. Then I'm reminded of a story of the father of a sick boy in Mark 9. In verse 24, the father asked Jesus for help. He says, I believe, help in my unbelief. Jesus didn't chastise him for his wavering faith. He just said, good enough. Your son will be healed. That's comfort. Sometimes I feel the same way. I tell him that I believe, but help my unbelief. The amazing thing is that he gently takes my faith, the faith that I have, and strengthens it and helps me get through. What is life like now? Well, I'm on disability. I'm allowed to work very part-time, so I work from home for a marketing company. If I'm not leading a men's group, I'm active in one. At times, I go out for coffee with men to encourage them. I speak at a homeless shelter. I write children's devotions for ministry, and I enjoy time with my friends and family. I want to encourage you, when you go through trials of any size, don't take your eyes off of Jesus. Don't look at the wind and the waves like Peter did in Matthew 14. Because when he took his eyes off Jesus, he immediately began to sink. I know that's true in my life. When I take my eyes off of Jesus, I do begin to look at everything that I've lost. I look at everything that I can't do. I look at my symptoms. I look at my bills. I quickly begin to sink in depression and discouragement and fear. We can avoid that. How? By staying on our knees in prayer and let him fill you. By staying in the Word and let it wash over you. By surrounding yourself with godly people and let them pour into your life. Isaiah 55:11 says that his word doesn't return void. It will accomplish what it was meant to do. When people speak God's word into your life, his word will help you. God promises that. Trust the Lord. He knows best. He knows what we can and can't handle. He has his hand on our trials. When you can't see his hand, trust his heart. He loves you more than you know. He has a plan for you. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. I heard this years ago, and it always encourages me. No ocean can hold it back. No river can overtake it. No whirlwind can go faster. No army can defeat it. No law can stop it. No distance can slow it. No disease can cripple it. No force on earth is more powerful or effective than the power of prayer. Never underestimate the power of prayer. Bring everything to the Lord. Through my MS, God gave me a new purpose in life. The closer I drew to the Lord through prayer and his word, he opened my eyes to the fact that I didn't cause my MS. I truly believe that it was like Luke 22 says. Jesus was talking to Peter. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat. But I prayed that your faith may not fail, and when you have returned again, strengthen your brothers. Because I was following the Lord, I believe it was an attack by Satan to destroy my faith. Jesus didn't tell Peter that that it wouldn't happen, but he prayed that Peter's faith would be strong, and that when he returned, he would strengthen the brothers. It sounds a lot like my situation. Because after I began to regain spiritual strength, I had a new purpose. It was to strengthen the brothers and to help them to be the men of God that God called them to be. This passion did not start before MS, but after. If this was an attack from Satan, he meant it to destroy my faith, but God allowed it to grow my faith. I think it's clear who won. With my eyes open to this, I found verses that showed me who I was, and then they showed me who I am now because of my MS. Psalm 119, before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I keep your word. You are good and do good. Teach me your statutes. It is good for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your statutes. The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of gold and silver pieces. Before MS, I didn't have a clear direction or passion. God allowed this attack. He pursued me. He drew me closer to him. And then my passion came. I love the Lord more than ever. And my love for him keeps growing. I can't wait to get into the word each day, and I can't wait to teach it to others. Because of all the problems that MS has caused and still continuing to cause, sometimes I feel like every time I see a light at the end of the tunnel, it's just an oncoming train and it runs me over. So I have a go-to verse for those times. And they bounce me directly back to the Lord. James 1, 2-4. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. I'm not joyful because I have MS. Make no mistake, I hate it. For all practical purposes, from an earthly perspective, it has ruined my life. But spiritually speaking, I have joy because of what MS is doing in my life. Because of MS, I am getting closer to Jesus. Because of MS, I am becoming more like him, and I'm able to use my trials to encourage others. The trials are brutal, but I have to look at what God is doing, and that encourages me. And I'm truly thankful to God. Only God can turn a negative into a positive. Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. God will give you a hope in a hopeless situation. God will give you help in a helpless situation. God will give you a purpose in a seemingly meaningless life. God will give you direction when you don't have a roadmap. Circling back to the beginning, they say deep life trials either draws you away from the Lord or they draw you to the Lord. They say deep life trials either draws you away from your spouse or they draw you closer together. Well, over the years, with this continually progressing trial, both Diana and I are closer to the Lord, and because of that, only because of that, we are drawing closer to each other. God is truly continuing to beat all the odds. What is my hope? That I follow the Lord with everything that I am. That I will be content in my situations because I can do all things through him who strengthens me. That my life will shine for Jesus. That when I'm afraid, that when I'm finished with this trial, I will come out as gold. That when I finish the race that is set before me and keep the faith. That I hear, well done, good and faithful servant. So where is all this going? From a worldly perspective, it doesn't look good. From a biblical perspective, he's holding my hand, he's with me, he's in control. My worst case scenario, I'm going home. I can't lose. First, I'm hanging on to Jesus with as tight as I can. But 1 Corinthians 3:23 says, and you are Christ's and Christ is God's. Jesus is holding me. And God is holding Jesus. I'm in good hands. In conclusion, Nothing comes to you that doesn't first go through God's loving hands. Stay close to Jesus. He will get you through your trials for your good and His glory. He has a plan for your life. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't quit. Go to God. I hope I've encouraged you. Thank you for having me.